Hello everyone and welcome to Square Enix's Special Hell, aka the Abyss Perfectum 4th Stratum Part 6 Level 200 Lufenia level quest. On my next video for Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, we're going to go through this one. I am bringing along a party of Terra, Raijin and Eald'narche with a Leviathan summon and a Rydia call effect on, or Rydia call ability on Raijin, which is practically essential. Right, okay, so this fucking stage, you remember the Dullahan, right? That we were able to cheese using Yuffie. Well, they've gone ahead and fixed it, and they've given it immunity to its own debuff. It's basically the same fight, except it doesn't absorb earth and ice or whatever. It's neutral on all elements, but it's otherwise basically the same fight, including the Lufenia orb you need to inflict water damage. It is indeed immune to delay, including delay from break, and you can't delay it. Like any way possible. The only way to get rid of its turns is to use a Mediterranean or Ultimicious Burst, so you can only delete it. And yeah, it is every bit of it's like obnoxiousness unleashed, right? Because this boss was always a piece of shit. You could just cheese it, but I mean you can't do it this time. But you kind of can, and you kind of can. This banner, like this event, is kind of tied to the rerun where you've got Kefka and Arden LDs on the Mayfair banner. I have no clue why the fuck Arden is there. Like, I don't understand how Arden factors into this fight whatsoever. Now, you can say Kefka definitely factors into it based on the fact that you can use HP attack silence, but we ain't going to do that. We're going to be using Eald'narche instead because it's just quite frankly more reliable, because Kefka has like high turn rates that he siphons up and does like loads of freaking like does not do anywhere near enough damage in my opinion personally, and it's just kind of crap. But Eald'narche is better because I mean he hits harder, and I find that the Warp and Terror is a little bit more reliable. So the big problem for this one is the Lufenia orb, because not only is it a Lufenia level fight, but we also have Abyss restrictions. In this case we need a spear character, we need a black crystal. In fact, that's all that we require on this. We need spears, and we need a black crystal. But you'd be kind of silly not to use Terra, because not only is her attack boosted, but she is just one of the best characters in the game at the moment. And I'm going to straight up say that I was able to do it with this team, but I could not do it without Terra's Burst weapons. So this party setup, I'm going to say, will only work if you've got Terra's Burst, because the number of characters that we have at the moment that are capable of dealing water damage is almost non-existent. We've got Rydia and we've got Morg, and that's basically it. And we've got Garnet, who really is completely phased out at this point. Like, you know, she might be able to tickle the enemies, but she just doesn't have strong enough attack against Lufenia level defenses. And there aren't that many spear characters, especially not ones that can counteract the fact that the boss twats you for stupidly huge amounts of damage. Well, technically you don't need healing in this fight if you bring Eald'narche or Kefka, but you definitely need the spear character, and out of the ones that we've got, Raijin is definitely my strongest, because I also have Aranea, but we have to factor in the fact that we're bringing in both Terra and Eald'narche, which are extremely selfish characters, and do not have any auras. Now, Eald'narche does have a lot of defense debuffs in his kit, like frame defense debuffs on Warp and Terra, but he does not have any kind of party auras, and Terra doesn't really have party auras. She doesn't even have bravery damage on her burst effect, which she is going to eat through herself anyway, because we can't delay the enemy, so she needs to take a ton of turns. And it's just a mess. So like I could bring Aranea, for example, but then we would have absolutely zero attack auras for the rest of the party, and we wouldn't even be able to bring the Ifrit summon, because we need Leviathan to inflict water damage against the enemy so that we don't get exploded by the Lufenia orb, because we don't have fucking Morg, which is quite clearly what this fight has been built around. But I'm stubborn. I don't want to pull Morg. I'm not interested in Morg. I did actually pick up his EX on a random freaking single pull, so I've got his EX and I've got like his other weapons. But I'm not going to be using him, because I know for a fact I would pretty much use him in this fight, and then he would just be riding the bench for the rest of the game until Lufenia Plus minimum. So we're going in with this party instead. So the key here is I brought Aranea along because Vital Crusher is 50% bravery damage boost, but I honestly may not use that. I might bring in Hope instead, because that would also give like another level of Imperil. which would really help. Would really help what's her face Terra to deal damage. I mean, I'm not sure what to bring. If I bring Aranea, that's going to be nice. Because she's going to deal more damage with her actual LD call ability. You know what? No, I'll bring freaking Hope. We'll bring Hope to this because he can heal up at the start. We've got Jack, and then yeah, we've got Rydia. So pretty much, let's jump in, see how this goes. It is really definitely not my favourite fight, and I'm pretty sure that almost everyone who's played it is going to say the same goddamn thing. In fact, we have to pretty much pray at the start of this that we don't get absolutely blown up to bits. Thankfully, Terra's turn is not last, so like she's probably not going to get broken. Okay, great. Okay, nice. There we go. That's good. Okay, so the boss is targeting Eald'narche, which is excellent. Which is pretty much what we want because we want to shut this guy down as soon as possible. I am going to set up with a magic meltdown to drop its defense somewhat, and I am going to straight away go into my my LD here, my additional ability rather. We're going to stop Terrorlocking. Like, we're fine to use one of those right now. And let's just use phase shift and then straight into skill 2. So we get in the warp and the terror on this guy. He is targeting Eald'narche, so it'll be pretty much terror locked from this point forwards, which is exactly what we want. There we go, excellent. Raijin, on the other hand, let's see, let's just count the turns for a little bit, shall we? So we get 11 on the Luffy orb. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay. Okay, we'll be fine. I won't use summon Leviathan on this turn, I'll use it on the next turn. Let's get up that EX. Very nice. And let's get up his Exceed Lance. Which, I'm using this for the fact that it does apply a framed buff to Eald'narche, which also gives him bravery regen, which is quite important. Terra is going to use Magic Meteor for the speed debuff. Okay, I am definitely saving the vortex there. Okay, so Jack's debuff is going on at this point. Let me just firstly make sure that I don't steal a turn by doing this. I do not. That is good. So I'm just going to throw on Jack here. In fact, I may be able to get below. I may be able to take it below the orb threshold if I go into the burst here, but I don't think I really want to try that. So that might be something you can try. Like, I could use Jack's regular call ability here, and then I could go into the burst and hope I can take it below 80% so we can race through the orb without having to use Rydia. But I am not going to be doing that. I am going to be playing it quote-unquote safe. And I'll just use Meltdown again. Yeah, so you could quite possibly get it to through the orb, but I'm just going to use Rydia instead to deal plenty of orb damage. And then let's just go into Fist. Okie dokes. So Eald'narche continues to do Eald'narche things. Let's take a look at the buffs. So Terra is only going to last for another turn at this point. Let's throw on Hope's debuff. Very tempting to do this, but I ain't gonna do it. Okay, so then, might as well go into Terra's Burst here. Right, so let's start with the right blades. And I think Magic Meltdown should be fine. Defense drop. We do a dual cast after we've got the defense drop, and then we rotate into the meteors, and then we use her LD, and then we should be pretty much fine. And I've just noticed her max bravery has just got destroyed anyway. It is what it is. Okay, there we go. Time for the finisher. Okay, there we go. Excellent. So, of course, we engage the Terror protocols. We've got lots of bravery damage debuffs on there, but I would like to point out that we are still not copping out on damage. We're still dealing 8,000 or whatever it is. So that's why it's quite important to stack those on there. Well, I mean, the weakness damage we're dealing is from Hope's LD. It's not from Raijin, so that's probably part of the reason. Okay, so I'm actually just going to use a regular ass magic meteor here. In fact, you know what? I'll use I'll use Jack as well. There we go, very good. So that is Terra that's fallen off, but I can at the very least use Vortex here. Excellent. Right, so we do not have too many. Well, we've got 6 turns of burst left. I mean, what we could do is we could let Eald'narche take another turn here. So let's take a look at the debuff durations that we've got going on. We've got Warp in there, we've got D-Shell Terror, Cast No Wounds, so that is not going to last for too much longer. The 1-turn debuff is Warp, so okay. So we can afford to let Eald'narche take another couple of turns here. And then we're going to go all in with Terra. I'm basically just trying to maximize this burst effect. Yeah, so let's use a Mega Javelin. Refresh the warp duration, and then we can rotate into Eald'narche. Oh, you love to see it. Oh, that damage. Excellent. And then Raijin is probably going to be... Yep, there we go. Okay, now it's time to spam Terra. Okay, there we go. So we're basically just going to exhaust all of Terra's LDs at this point, and then we will go into the summon, either like when it's too late, or if the Lufeni orb's about to blow up, or something like that, then we'll do it. But essentially, we've only got 1 turn left on our Jack LD debuff, and we've got 1 turn left on, I think is that D-Shell? No, it's Terra. But essentially the durations are running very low, so if we let Jack's LD debuff drop off, we're going to be dealing like absolutely no bravery damage whatsoever, so we definitely do not want that to happen. So at all costs, that is something to avoid. So let's just keep on spamming meteors here. So this may be somewhat of a cheap approach to the fight, but this boss itself is incredibly cheap. It demands you to cheese it, because if you try and play this fight without using all of the broken stuff that we have access to, then you're really not going to have a very fun time. I do not have any better way of putting it than that. It is just anti-fun. Like, the boss will dispel your buffs, you'll get frozen like Shiva, and then like your entire party will be frozen, so you can't freaking move. And then you'll get like stuck with a framed poison that ignores debuff immunity, and that will reduce 30% of your health every goddamn freaking turn. Like the list goes on. I cannot overstate how obnoxious this boss is. Like it really sucks. So at least I have this option available to me because I did pull for Eald'narche way back. Because I'm actually quite glad that I did now. Because I wasn't all that impressed with him at first in Lufenia, but he does allow you to cheese some stuff like this, so he's good to have like he's good to have in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like you just bust out Eald'narche every now and then, whenever the need arises, and he definitely doesn't disappoint. Meanwhile, we've got Terra just like raining magical fury on the enemies. It's like when her level 60 awakening came out, but even worse because it's just constant Midoriya. Yeah, but like, I'm really not a fan of the way that they designed this boss, because they just straight up made it immune to delay, and immune to like delays from breaks, and give it all sorts of obnoxious like recast bullshit. It's basically like they're saying, we've given you these really overpowered characters that have these mechanics that can just trivialize fights, so instead of trying to like work around that, we're just going to straight up no-sell everything and make it immune to everything. So if you have Terra or if you have Mog, then you're going to be fine, and if you don't, then fuck you, basically. And that's kind of where we are right now. And yeah, the Lufenia orb is getting very low. He's about to run out, but that's completely fine. We're over here just chilling. We've run out of LDs. But like, I would love to go into the summon on Eald'narche's free turn like I used to do, but if we do that, then we're gonna be getting rid of Jack's debuff, so we just need to go in right the hell now. And of course, I'm gonna be going for the LD. I don't know what has more bravery hits. 5 hit? 5 hit. I guess it doesn't really matter, huh? Yeah, the damage leapt up just because of the lightning and pearl. But here we are. What debuffs do we have on you? We still have Warp and Terror. So yeah, this is pretty much over. Screw you, sir. Goodbye and do not come back. Oh, you're not dead yet. Okay, fine. Well, you are now. So, yeah, as I was saying, fuck you. Die and do not come back this time. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be my clear of the abyss. Please do not ask me to use a different team because I will straight up shove my middle finger at you. I do not have Mog. My Kimari is not built. I suppose I could try and do something with Kefka, but it really just doesn't sound like a very fun idea. Yeah, that's going to be my approach to this quest. So I made it look quite straightforward, but that is purely down to the team comp here. If you don't have Terra's Burst, you might be okay, but at this, because I kind of was able to squeeze out a lot there at the end with the Leviathan summon, but at the same time, I wouldn't like to try it, and I'm glad I don't have to. So, that being said, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed and or maybe found it useful, and until the next time, take care and goodbye.